Morning, Monday, and it's a bit of a overcast, sort of damp day. That's not going to affect what I'm doing because what I've done is built a tent. So I've got polythene tarps above, and I've got them at the side of me here. So that should keep the rain off the wall and me to a degree. Right, let's take a close look at pointing for those who fancy having a bit of a do but have never actually done it. Right, so obviously you've got your little hawk. What you do, you flatten it to the edge, like so, and then you get a nice piece on your trowel, and you put it to the joint and you push it in to the joint so it goes as far in as you can get it, to the back preferably. It's very difficult with these because they're very thin joints compared to say commons. Now again, and push it into the joint. Now you can see either side how it's sticking out. Very carefully nip it off. Get a bit more on the end of your trowel. Just touch it up and trim it off again. And then just nice and smooth. And of course, with something like this, your joints aren't all the same size. So what you need is a series of these, a set of different thicknesses. So from that, which is quite thin, you know, in comparison to that. And then you've got another one there, which again is a bit thicker. Also, you can have things like that, which is known as a Roman trowel. So if you've got an awkward bit or a very wide joint or something like that, you can always fettle it with that. And these are also great if you're pointing up rough cut stonework. They're excellent for that. Okay, so the mortar that you want, you don't want it really wet. You want it quite firm but damp, because basically it has to stick to your trowel like that. If it's not doing that, it's either too wet or it's too dry. Now if you remember Goldilocks and the Three Bears when you were a child, try the first porridge, it was too hot. Try the next one, it was too cold. Let's try the third one, and it was just right. Well, it's the same with your mortar. You want it just right, otherwise you're going to fail. Because if it's too wet, you're not going to get it to push back into the joint. And if it's too dry, you're going to get it on your trowel. In the first instance, it's just going to fall off. Also, you need quite a steady hand, because you've got to guide this into that joint, into that hole. It's not as easy as it looks. I mean, in the past, you know, we've had young lads come and do a bit with us, and can I have a go? Can I have a go? And you give them a go at it because they think it's easy because they've been watching you do it, and next thing it's all over the face of the brick. Well, it does take quite a bit of practice to be able to do it. And this is basic pointing. This that we're doing here, this is just a cement mortar. Now, for some of you who are watching these videos for the first time, and you're thinking to yourself, hang on a minute, what do you mean just cement mortar, that's all there is? Well, no. Now, the summer months, we don't actually use cement mortar, we use lime mortar. quicklime to be precise, which is I prefer the quicklime mortar because it's nicer to work, it's better for the building, it's pretty much environmentally friendly. You know, it's got a lot of advantages. You know, it's lets the water in and out, so it's very permeable. It's softer, so it's flexible. You know, it really is good gear. But you can't use it in the winter months. The simple reason, it takes about 38 days for it to cure properly. So it's very vulnerable to frost for quite some time. Whereas what we're doing here, we managed to get some in last week when we had the frost, and I was just putting 3 layers of hessian sheeting over the top of it, and it set nice overnight because it's a chemical set. Cement's a chemical set, whereas lime sets basically by sucking in carbon. It's not a chemical set. I'll do a video on all about lime for you at some point. Do a little talky video and talk you through from how it's produced to how we use it, how we mix it, etc. And of course all the safety aspects of it as well, because the thing is with the old quicklime, it can be quite deadly, as I found out a couple of years ago when I took a big lungful of quicklime powder and damaged a lung. So you have to be very, very careful when using it. And some of you who are long-term subscribers will have seen me in the past using the old quicklime mortar. You can also use what's known as a putty for your mortars, which is again, it's produced by using quicklime. You know, it's you can buy it ready-made, or you can produce your own putties. But it's basically quicklime that's gone through the slaking process, and it's turned it into like a nice creamy substance. Again, there's some of the videos out there that I've done. I think on the lime plastering, for example, there's one where I show you the lime putty, which we also use for making up our plaster finishes, which is quite interesting. And next year we'll be doing some more of the lime plastering, because we've got some jobs booked in for the old lime plaster. So we'll be giving you an in-depth video on how to undertake that, including things like, you know, what animal hair to put in it and how to actually put it into the mix and so forth. Because again, it's quite complex compared to modern stuff. You know, modern stuff, you split a bag, tip it in your bucket of water, put your paddle mixer through it, and that's it, done. You can't actually do that with the lime. It's much different. Right, so you can see now, but again, it's the same principle for doing those joints there. Putting it in, flick off your little what snots, make sure it's smooth, make sure there's no little holes in it, etc. And it's, don't forget, flatten it down on that board. Whoops. There you go. So, what mix are we using here? Okay. So for non-tradies, the old DIY fans out there, we're using what is known as a 4-to-1 mix on here. So that'd be 4 of your sand and 1 of your cement. And I'm also putting in a black mortar dye, which will dry a sort of greyish colour, which basically matches what it was done with originally, colour-wise. Obviously, the mortar was different back then. It was lime mortar they were using, but they don't want it on this job, so I'm happy with that. So do we add anything to it? Well, yeah, we do. It's got a little bit of what we call ABBA mix. Not ABBA mix, not that 70s band, ABBA mix. Now, ABBA mix, what it does, it makes it workable. You're quite dead without it and you struggle. But you only put a bit in, you don't need too much in it. Now, some guys I've seen using fairy liquid, the washing up liquid. It's not really a good idea. It's quite important to make sure that when you're doing the pointing, that you cut it to a decent depth. Generally, you're about 20mm. These are a bit shy of that because it's only a thin joint. But the rule of thumb is that you want double the depth that is the width of the joint itself, if that makes sense to you. You've got to make sure it's pushed right to the back. So why not fairy liquid? Well, basically fairy liquid, it makes the stuff soft. It's no good at all. It makes it too fluffy. And what's a gallon of that mix? A tenner, you know. And you'll get a lot of use out of it if you just point in, because you only need a tiny drop. So go with ABBA mix. Remember, it's not ABBA mix, it's ABBA mix. Right, let's crack on with this pointing. You can see here that I've done a load of the what we call perps, the perpendicular joints. Now what I tend to do is do a metre, maybe 2 metres worth of the perps, and then start running these in, because you'll find it a lot easier if you've done your perps first. If you try and do them after, what you do is you're going on to that one there, and obviously that's then going to mark up what you've just done, so you're having to double strike it. So do your perps first, save yourself a lot of trouble later. That one's a keeper. What I'm doing here is removing the damaged brakes, the spoiled brakes, and the machine that I'm using is obviously a saw, but the saw blade itself is a special blade for cutting masonry. It will cut stone and brick and mortar and so on. So it's absolutely ideal for this, and it's only thin, so it's great for cutting these thin joints out, these thin bedding joints. Which it's going to save me a lot of time and effort doing it with a plugging chisel and a hammer. I do have a really thin non-fluted plugging chisel which will go into these joints, but you know, it's a lot of work, isn't it, doing it by hand, whereas this saw, you're doing it in minutes. And it also means that I can take the bricks out without damaging them, so that I can reverse the brick itself. And okay, the bricks come out, they're a bit dirty, but a little bit of a wash with some of the old magic water, the old brick acid, and brings them up nicely again, so that when they're put in, you can't tell that they've been replaced. The only problem is that the Harris has been cut off all the other brick, so when you replace it, the Harris, it's a little bit thinner than the joint, sorry, is a little bit thinner, and with having the full Harris on the brick. But I'm sure that that's not really going to be noticed in a massive bricks like this. But there you go, great little tip. So you can just reverse them. You don't necessarily have to smash them out with a big hammer and go and buy more. Take them out carefully and reverse them. Right, there we go. Well, there you go. Hopefully that was informative and helpful to some of you out there. If you've never watched the videos before and you just happen to pop onto the channel, first of all, I hope you enjoyed watching the video. And secondly, it's not normally what we get up to. If you subscribe and look at some of the other videos, you'll be able to see exactly what we normally get up to, which is more sort of like on the side of heritage, masonry, restoration and preservation. And obviously some of you are subscribers already know that, so there you go. But what I've tried to do this week is give you a little bit of sort of demonstration or advice on how to undertake the repointing of brickwork correctly. Obviously some of you all already know how to do this, and you know, hopefully you just enjoy the video. But some of you have probably never picked a trowel up in your life, but I'd love to have a go at undertaking a bit of repointing on the back of the house, or maybe the garden wall or something. Little project for next year perhaps. Well, that brings us to the end of this week's video. Not much more for me to show you this week. We've gone through the step-by-step guide of how to repoint, and you've seen us have a go with the new machine. And the new machine is going to save a hell of a lot of time on the cutting out of brickwork. It really is. Not just this job, but all the other jobs that we undertake. Also be great for trimming up bits of stonework as well, I think. We'll try that out on some sandstone and see if it cuts through it. Well, welcome to all the new subscribers. Thank you for subscribing. It's always appreciated. And if you have just happened upon this channel and you kind of like this video, well, subscribe and have a look at some of the other videos, because we don't just do this sort of work. We've got lime plastering, line pointing, stonework repair, cutting of stonework, all sorts of stuff. Really enjoyable stuff. Right, well, I'm going to end this video here this week, and one more video and then it's Christmas. So we shall see you next week for another episode of buggering about with this old building.